The storm had been raging for hours when the first faint knock echoed through the stone corridors of the royal palace. Rain lashed against the high windows, wind clawed at the shutters, and thunder rolled like distant drums over the hills. In the heart of the storm, the castle stood like a patient sentinel, torches sputtering, guards huddled close to braziers, servants whispering of ghosts and wanderers. The knock came again, louder this time. A servant, pale and hesitant, unbarred the great oak doors. The wind howled inward, scattering rushes across the floor, and there, framed by lightning, stood a young woman. She was soaked to the bone. Mud clung to her skirts, her hair lay flat and heavy, and her hands trembled from cold. Yet despite the ruin of her attire, she held herself with a curious grace, a composure that seemed out of place for one who had walked through such a tempest. She said simply, though her voice was hoarse,
"I am a princess. May I shelter here for the night?"
The servant, unsure whether to laugh or bow, hurried away to fetch the queen. Queen Amara was a woman of keen eyes and sharper instincts. Her son, Prince Alaric, had returned from his travels with a weary heart and a single desire: to find a true princess, not merely of title or birth, but of nature. He had visited kingdoms near and far, met duchesses, countesses, and queens-to-be, but all had seemed veiled in some pretense. Some were clever and bold, others fair and kind, yet none had struck him with that rare, indefinable truth the queen believed set a real princess apart. When the servant arrived breathless with news of a bedraggled visitor claiming royal blood, Queen Amara's brows rose with interest.
"Bring her to me."
Moments later, the girl was ushered into the hall. Lightning flashed again, revealing her face clearly for the first time. Fine-boned, pale, her eyes a soft gray that seemed almost silver. The queen's gaze swept over her, assessing the torn gown, the weary stance, and the quiet pride that persisted through the exhaustion. "A princess, you say?" Amara asked. "Yes, Your Majesty," the girl replied, bowing slightly. "From the northern lands of Era. My ship was caught in the storm and my escort scattered. I sought the nearest lights. They led me here." Her voice trembled faintly, but her posture never did. Alaric, standing near the hearth, watched her in silence. She seemed sincere, too wearied to lie, too proud to plead. Yet her mother's expression betrayed a flicker of doubt. "A princess," she murmured thoughtfully. "We shall see." The queen's mind began to work. She had always believed that true nobility was something that could not be taught or hidden. Wealth could be lost, titles faked, appearances deceived, but delicacy of feeling, that innate sensitivity of body and soul, was beyond disguise. So, as the storm thrashed outside and servants prepared a room for the stranger, Queen Amara gave a quiet, curious order. "Bring 20 mattresses and 20 feather beds as well. Stack them one upon the other, and beneath the very first, place a single green pea." The chamberlain blinked. "A pea, Your Majesty?" "A single one," she said. "Let no one touch it once it is placed, and see that the girl sleeps upon the pile." When Alaric overheard this, he laughed. "Mother, you mean to test her comfort with a vegetable?" His mother's smile was thin. "If she is a true princess, she will feel it." Alaric shook his head, amused but obedient. He had long since learned not to question his mother's strange intuitions. She had been right about people too many times to doubt. Still, as the night deepened and he retired to his own chambers, he found himself thinking of the drenched stranger, her eyes bright even in the candlelight. The bed was prepared in the highest tower room, a thing so tall it nearly brushed the carved rafters. The servants murmured in disbelief as they stacked each mattress with careful precision, until the pile resembled a small hill of down and silk. At its very bottom, under the weight of 20 mattresses and 20 feather beds, lay the single green pea. No bigger than the tip of a finger, yet the heart of the queen's quiet experiment. When all was ready, the girl, who gave her name as Princess Alara of Era, was led to her chamber. She looked up at the towering bed, astonished. "I fear I shall need a ladder to reach it," she said softly. "You shall have one," the servant replied with a small smile. And indeed, a tall gilded ladder was brought forth. Alara climbed slowly, each step trembling under her tired limbs, until at last she reached the top. The blankets were warm, the fire below steady, and the scent of lavender filled the room. With a whisper of thanks, she extinguished the candle and lay down. Outside, the rain finally began to ease. Morning came pale and quiet. The storm had passed, leaving the gardens glistening under a sky washed clean. In the great hall, the queen and prince took their breakfast. Alaric seemed distracted, glancing now and then toward the doorway. When Alara entered, she looked worse than before. Shadows pooled beneath her eyes, her movements were stiff, and her face was pale. "My dear," the queen said, concealing her interest beneath calm courtesy, "did you rest well?" Alara hesitated. "Forgive me, your majesty, but I scarcely slept at all." "No," the queen said mildly. "And why was that, child?" "I do not know," Alara confessed. "Something hard pressed through the mattresses all night. My body is bruised from head to foot. I turned and turned, but no position brought comfort. I thought perhaps the bed was built upon stones." For a moment, the hall was silent. Alaric's spoon paused halfway to his mouth. The queen's lips curved ever so slightly. "Aha," she murmured. Alara looked uncertain. "Have I said something wrong?" "Not in the least," Amara said. "You have said everything right." Later that day, the prince was summoned to the queen's chamber, where the single green pea lay on a silver dish, small, unremarkable, and yet, to Queen Amara, priceless. "Mother," Alaric said, still in disbelief, "surely this is mere coincidence. No one could feel that through so many layers." "No one," she agreed, "except one who is bred to feel every smallest discomfort, whose senses are trained to the finest thread of courtesy, whose nature is as delicate as silk. Do you understand now, my son? That is the mark of true refinement, true breeding. It cannot be imitated." He gazed at the pea, then laughed softly, shaking his head. "You mean to tell me that a vegetable has chosen my bride?" "Not the vegetable, child, the truth beneath it." That evening, when Alaric found Alara walking the palace gardens, the air was warm and the sun sinking gold behind the towers. She had changed into a gown the servants had lent her, pale green silk that shimmered faintly as she moved. Despite her weariness, she carried herself with quiet grace, her expression thoughtful. "Your Highness," he said gently, coming to her side.
I hope my mother's test was not too cruel." "Test?"
She blinked, startled. "You mean the bed?" He smiled, sheepish. "It seems she wished to be sure you were truly what you claimed. She placed a pea beneath the mattresses." Her eyes widened. "A pea? You jest." "I do not," he said, chuckling. "And you, dear lady, have passed it. To feel a single pea through 20 mattresses is no ordinary feat." For a moment she stared at him, then laughed, a soft and clear as bells. "I should have known," she said. "Queens are always cleverer than storms." "I'm inclined to agree," he replied, "though I find myself more curious about the woman who conquered both." She met his gaze, the last light of sunset glinting in her eyes. "You believe me, then, that I am who I say?" He nodded slowly. "I believe the pea would not lie." In the days that followed, the palace filled with warmth again. Alara's ship was found wrecked upon the coast, and her attendants rescued. Messengers confirmed her story. She was indeed the daughter of the northern king, lost at sea on her journey south. But even had no confirmation come, Queen Amara and Prince Alaric would have believed her, for there was something in every her word and gesture, an ease, a dignity that no impostor could mimic. The wedding was held within the month. The storm that had brought her to their gates was long forgotten, though some said it had been fate itself that guided her to that door, a test not of body, but of soul. As for the pea, it was placed in a crystal case and displayed in the royal treasury where it remained for generations. A tiny green jewel, proof of a tale whispered to every child who dreamed of what it meant to be truly noble. And so, the story of the Princess and the Pea passed into legend, a parable of grace hidden beneath simplicity, of truth beneath pretense,